Ronnie is on Twitter saying he vows that Bitcoin is the man, the myth, the legend, and no more CBCD would ever talk. Yes, Ron DeSantis jumped on. We're going to go over that article. Boy, we are full today. Kwon, man, what a mess that boy is, and people still worship him. And yes, we do have XRP and Ripple news. It is just every day something new is really popping. What did the Fed say about XRP? Next on OG Crypto and NFTs. Welcome everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over the latest news in blockchain, digital currency, and non-fungible tokens. This is a crazy day. Now, before we jump into it, do me a favor, hit that like button. Boom, boom, boom. Like this video. I know YouTube doesn't like me, and I know there's, a set of friends out there don't like me either, but outside of that, you can like me by hitting that button. All right, let's jump right into it. Wow, what craziness happened last night on Elon Musk's Twitter. Elon was live, so was Ron DeSantis. He actually said he was going to run for president of the United States. And a few things came out that was really memorable. Was that number one, he said CBDCs was not going to happen on his watch. That is a very big thing that's happening right now, you know, with the president and with the Fed talking about CBDCs and the privacy issue. And people, let me back up for a second. What does that actually mean? That means that if we replace our fiat, or at least make some type of inversion placement, that means that we can actually have digital currencies in digital wallets in our phones. But it also will allow that watchdog, such as the federal government, looking at every single transaction that we have. Right now, they're not allowed in our bank accounts unless they have some type of subpoena or they have some reasoning. But more importantly, with cash, they have no clue what we're doing with cash. But that seems to be changing all over the world. CBDCs are now becoming adopted, and more out there, you can see where you can connect the dots to see where money's at. Well, he wants to make sure that in the United States, we do not lose our privacy, at least our financial privacy. And that is the number one thing that he's talking about here on Twitter Spaces. He got a rousing applause on there, and people are very excited about his stance. All right, next, OpenAI Sam Altman raises $115 million for WorldCoin crypto project. I love it. Sam Altman here is from the United States. He continues to grow this WorldCoin. And I was like, what the hell is a WorldCoin? It sounds like a meme coin, if anything. This is what it says. The project WorldCoin aims to distribute a crypto token to people just for being a unique individual. Huh? Not quite sure what that means. The project uses a device to scan irises to confirm identity, after which they are given the tokens for free. So again, so I'll give you something if you give up your identity. Now, what I think this is going to be, more importantly, this is going to be, well, if you give your identity up and we can gather data from you and learn about you, we'll give you free things such as money, such as cross-border payments, such as banking, because data is going to be so rich in the future that we've got to know that they can advertise to us about all of our habits, and they can make so much money that all the little things that we're disturbed about, we can get for free. Very, very interesting. Now, of course, there's a lot of criticism here about privacy rules, and of course, we also know that this can't even be, traded here in the United States. So it's nothing to do with the US, but it's very interesting. All right. What else is interesting? Well, day 127 for Kwon says Kwon's bail revoked in Montenegro. Of course it's revoked. And then I love how they say next, and a study finds that crypto hacks fell 70%. Like Kwon is the hacker, has a hacker fucking, underground hackers, right? Foundation here. So I kind of put those two together, and I think it just shows that the media just wants to kind of connect the dot here between hackers and crypto. It's we're on the Gary Gensler / Karen Warren, Elizabeth Warren thing. Hey, Justin, news breaking from our Emi, our producer. It says, do you think it's because he's Asian?
Remember all the hackers from China they've been talking about?
Yeah, from North Korea.
So I wonder if they're trying to put them together.
I don't know. Who knows? All we know is on day 127, bail revoked. Let's go on next here. Now, this happened, I think, a day or two ago. Again, not John Deaton, Garlinghouse, Brad Garlinghouse was on a program here, and he then said some more comments. This is becoming very, very interesting. Earlier this morning on CNBC, Charles Gasparino was talking about how he had a little birdie sitting in the SEC, and they're saying that they're meeting today and they're going full bore against crypto. Now, the word flogging was actually used, that Charles Gasparino said he quoted his, his secret source. But what was interesting the day before, this is a clip from a podcast that Brad Garlinghouse is on, and listen to what he says here.
Right, that I feel very confident that we'll see a decision from the courts in this year. In fact, I think I would guess it'll be in weeks, not months. There's some decisions that happened last week that you may have read about, that the judge ruled against the SEC's effort to redact certain information about a very kind of infamous speech that the then director of corporate finance, a guy named Bill.
So this is very interesting. You continue to see Brad Garlinghouse being very, very positive about winning this case. And then today, Charles Gasparino comes out and says, hey, the SEC's got to jump on it now. Gary Gensler's on everybody over there to jump on crypto and go after crypto exchanges as well as currencies. And he says that he did it in a fashion that needs to be done immediately. So the question that remains here is there a settlement agreement or discussions they're talking about right now? Because if the judge comes out tomorrow, and says that Ripple is not a security, she could, quote unquote, John Deaton, split the baby. Meaning that at the very beginning, when they sold it, it was sold as a security, but as on the secondary market or sold anytime after 2018, 2017, it's not a security, it's a commodity. She says that pretty much makes every single one of these cryptocurrencies that Gary Gensler's talked about a commodity and not a security. It doesn't fall under his jurisdiction at the SEC. It falls under the CFTC. So is there something in the works here that the SEC needs to figure out? Meaning that once there's a decision, that decision stays amongst Ripple and the SEC, and they negotiate a quick settlement that is not disclosed, right? And the SEC can go on and continue with their hammering of the crypto industry. Very, very interesting. At that point, would they show the Bill Hemming emails? I don't think they will. I think there's a lot of damning evidence in there, evidence that Bill Hemming or there were participants within the SEC that said that, including the lawyers and litigation department, that Ripple was not, or XRP is not a security. And with that being said, it's just becoming very interesting that these emails in which the government or SEC was told 6 times by 2 judges to turn them over, and they turned them over kicking and screaming, and want it all redacted, that they are at the point where they really want them released out to the public. Because if that's so, I think it just shows how badly run the SEC was and still is. All right, let's jump on the next one. This is really cool. Jimmy Valley put this out. This is about ethgate, and I know it's kind of interesting. It's about 2 minutes long. He gave a speech and they cached it. And it's kind of funny. If you look at all the participants that this little video is about. We see Vitalik, Hinman, we're seeing Jamie Dimon, Joe Lubin, Jay Clayton, Gary Gensler. So we're seeing all these people, and you start listening to what was actually said between Vitalik and Joe Lubin back in the day. There could not have been a worse case scenario of a security. Not a worst case scenario. We're talking about hiding wallets and disguising people. And Joe Lubin says it straight out. We'll disguise you. We'll disguise who you are. He says it, okay? I mean, Vitalik just talks, he's a pure security. So let's go listen to it real quick.
And I'm going to give basically a high-level presentation of what Ethereum is as a technology, and then kind of organizationally how it is, including this IPO.
Will there be a limit on the amount that a person could invest in Ethereum?
A person can buy from any number of different identities. We may limit the size, the unit size of a sale, just to make it easier to disguise.
We had been hoping to launch our pre-sale on February 1st. So this is the way to get into Ethereum financially, which would be that we would be selling Ether at a rate of 2,000 Ether for 1 Bitcoin, and Ether would become the internal currency of the Ethereum network. Ether would be like the BTC in Bitcoin, or like the XRP in Ripple.
Alibaba. It looks like it will go public sometime.
Which could happen pretty much within a month.
So the second part of this is the connection between the SEC, Bill Hinman, and then getting money, from the old Simpson Thatcher days while he was as the SEC. Hinman received $15 million, and it could be for many different reasons. He was told by the SEC departments that he was not allowed to talk to him or even deal with him whatsoever, yet they were all involved in the Alibaba here. So we won't go down that rabbit hole, but we're still seeing it. Thank you, Jimmy Valley, for this video. It just, again, keeps showing the corruption back in the Jay Clayton days, yet Jay Clayton still is a relevant player in the media right now, which he refuses to ever answer any questions that have to do with this, yet on the day he was walking out of the SEC, last day of his regime, he drops the Ripple lawsuit. Now, how do you plan to defend it if you drop the lawsuit on the last day? Makes no sense at all. Just shows that there could be some mischief that's going on here. All right, here's Wrath Economy. And I said from the beginning, Atlanta Fed, think about this. Atlanta Fed released a report. Web3 and financing mentions what? Ripple? They describe XRP as an international payment medium or a wholesale settlement coin. It's a cryptocurrency. How is everyone in the federal government saying it's a cryptocurrency, and we continue to have Gary Gensler say it's a security? Here, a dollar bill, it's currency. It's not a security. It's so stupid over and over. It just doesn't make sense. Let's go read what it says here. This is from the Fed, and the source is the international settlements. It says Ripple and Stellar are two blockchain-based companies that are trying to make value transfer cheaper. Ripple provides various services via its use of its native token, XRP. Guys, read it again. The Fed just came out and said this, XRP, which is roughly envisioned as an international payment medium or wholesale settlement coin. My God, how is the government so divided on this? It just seems like there's so much backdoor handshaking that's going on, trying to keep Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Vanguard in it, BlackRock, without losing control of this new asset class, and then put all the FUD out through the media, it's just ridiculous. If you have half a brain, how are you seeing the Atlanta Fed come out with this? How are you seeing banks say that they need to use it? How are you seeing, Europe saying that they're writing it in their white paper, Ripple? How are you seeing all this happening? Over $1 billion a month is being transferred on-demand liquidity. The Ripple ledger, XRP ledger, there's over $2 billion a month being transferred on it, and these are cross-border payments. Has to do with other tokens, other business building on it, other NFT projects, or a project that we're going to jump into next here, which we're going to bring on Producer Emi. Producer Emi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. We're going to go over another project sitting on the XRP ledger. Let's go talk about it.
Yeah, okay, so this is pretty cool. It is a mixed martial arts, a professional mixed martial arts league called the PFL, Professional Fighters League. They are famous because they have let's just call it a World Series, where if you're able to beat your division, you win $1 million.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool.
How many divisions are there, do you know?
Not too many. They don't have a ton of weight classes like the UFC yet, I don't think.
Okay.
Because I know their women's goes up to 145 because that's Kayla Harrison. She was the champ. She's like a double gold Olympic judo champion. She's incredible. Yeah. Kayla Harrison's whoa. So she got really famous being on the PFL. She won a couple of their seasons, and it looks like they are going to be making their tickets into NFTs, and this on the XRPL. I think it's very interesting that the PFL chose XRP do this with, because I feel like the PFL is really trying to rise as an MMA organization. So it would make sense that if they're going to do NFT tickets, that they would go with a company that's very like stable and big. Yeah. So I think it's very interesting that they chose Ripple, and I think it's very interesting that Ripple was like, yeah, let's do it.
Well, actually, it's not. Ripple has nothing to do with this.
It's just XRPL.
It's just XRPL. Okay, for sure. So what they did is they built on the XRPL on there for ticketing. And so what they've done, and I think one of the reasons why, let's just go over Ethereum. We've talked about this, and I'm pounding the ground. The Ethereum gas would cost you $15, or more just to even mint it, right? You mint it, you got it, you mint it, $15, ridiculous, right? Well, if you go on to Bitcoin and on the ordinals, you're talking $2, $3. But if you're looking at, other blockchain technology, such as, XRPL, then you're looking at fractions of pennies. So it doesn't really, let's say it costs you a penny to do this. So it makes sense that there's more, the building on these blockchains are continually happening, because it just makes sense. As everything continues to grow, it makes no sense to go to Ethereum, who continues to raise, the gas prices keep going up. They keep jamming up their entire system, where some transactions you pay for gas and then you don't even it doesn't even transact, right? Same as Bitcoin ordinals, right? So with that being said, and if the space is growing, how that problem only continues to grow.
No, there's huge viability to the argument that you're putting forth, because if I'm thinking about it, the UFC did release some NFTs and it was all via Tezos.
Right. And Tezos, again, has almost no fees, right? And so you continue to see this, right, over and over. There's probably a dozen blockchains out there that I would consider, pennies to get to transact. That makes sense. Yet you keep seeing all the influencers out there saying, oh, I'll buy Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you realize that, hey, if I bought a Ethereum or a Bitcoin NFT, that I'm literally paying this huge, they call it gas, I call it tax. It really is a tax, right? And it doesn't make any sense. So that's why we're continuing seeing these blockchains that are just as big, but have figured it out.
Yeah, I think this is really cool. I hope they continue to do stuff like this. I think marketing could do something crazy like this, some sort of golden ticket concept.
Right.
I think this is really cool.
Now, one thing I didn't mention about the XRPL as well, it's carbon neutral.
Yeah, so there's no...
We have carbon, we have the worst carbon polluter in our space is Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin mining is absolutely terrible, right? Then you have Ethereum that had to move from proof of work to proof of stake. So they still have a carbon footprint, but they're not quite carbon neutral, but they're way better, right? But nobody wants to deal with their fees, right? They're just they have no control over their fees, and the only one making money is their investors and not the people transacting on it.
I think this direct quote is really interesting. The NFTs are built by Cross-Tower on the XRP ledger, an open source, energy efficient, and decentralized blockchain powered by global developers.
Right.
So like, what, you can't argue with it.
No.
You know, like you can't
argue
what
with
can
it.
you say?
Right.
You know?
It's just and Hope XLS 30 is coming out, which will be twofold. One is we're going to see smart contracts as hooks onto the XRPL, and then the automated market maker is just a game changer where you're spending again gas fees on changing coins from one coin to the next or trading coins. We're talking about on Ripple or not Ripple whatsoever on the XRPL. It's going to be fractions of pennies per transaction. We can't wait for that. Get rid of exchanges, right? I mean, that's the whole idea. Is you go buy an exchange. If you take your coins, and if you want to trade it for a stable coin, and then you can go to AMM on an automatic market maker on XRPL. You're immediately just changing it for pennies. Can't beat that. That's why you're starting to see the adoption here on XRPL.
Can't hold them down, man. They're fighting a how many $1 million lawsuit and doing all this. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, Brad Garlinghouse just said that they were going to finish up here on $200 million of legal fees fighting the SEC
while expanding their company globally and just killing it in the markets.
Right. Well, they just bought a $250 million company, Medico, which
crazy. It's wild.
It is wild.
It's wild.
It's wild. So
okay, let's do this. Close them out.
You guys, we'll see you tomorrow. You know that the girl has the mixed martial artist that we have here, reporter. She's the girl. Listen to her on NFTs.